Yeah, lots to rap about. You know, if you're trying to hide, I just throw it together, drop them lyrics, and keep it moving. You know, great little lineup, set up for y'all. Um, I just throw this one in the background. I'm not gonna get into the gameplay. I started with the Dungeons and Dragons, so it's like, you know what I mean, play some Dungeons and Dragons type games. But I want to start with this right here. This is what I want to start with.
We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
Now that's that real hip hop right there. That's that real hip hop right there. This is for the Killer Army new album. Make sure y'all check that out, right? Yeah, that's that real hip hop right there. Yeah. Folothan Modulus Tautology. Still putting it together. Still dropping them lyrics. Still sharing that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Shout out to the RZA, right? And I give RZA most of the credit because he wrote the books and he's the quote unquote leader of the Wu-Tang. But they do acknowledge Jizz as the head, right? That's what Method Man said. If they formed like Voltron. And we'll get more into Wu-Tang as I keep, doing these video logs and I'm still on Rakim. I'm still on number one, right? And then that's where, the hypocrites wanna, put somebody else at the number one spot, like Barack Obama. Like, nah, he's not the number one hip hopper. You know what I mean? And he's not a culture. He's not a leader of black culture. He's a plant that they put before us as African American culture. That's not what hip hop is. Hip hop is we say black, but it's dark. It's a dark culture. Like we come out as RZA say, the triple darkness. We go from triple darkness to double darkness to darkness to the light. That's just how our people flow. Like we are underground. All that. Hip hop is pop. Now that's that Hollywood perpetrating the fraud. And that's where like Ice Cube kind of fell off. But no, we love Ice Cube because he helped burn. He was the first to burn Hollywood burn. Him, Big Daddy Kane, and Chuck D. For Public Enemy, or for their second album or their third album actually, Fear of a Black Planet. That's where it began. That's where the real analysis of what our culture truly is. And I'm just flopping between games to show y'all that this is live. So I got a couple videos for y'all that I'm going to share, and then I'm just going to rap for 2 minutes. Then I'm out. Like I don't even think I'm gonna do 30 minutes for this one. I'm gonna try to do another show a little later on. I do programs. I'm trying to deprogram y'all from the hypocrisy of like false pride, and then reprogram y'all with that true pride, which is one God. So that's how it begins. That's how it ends. Spitting real, and at the same time keep it an intelligent movement because I am the tautological epistemologist. But we'll get more into that and how the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics help to develop our real consciousness, community, and culture that I call life, aka hip hop. So we not here to hate. We a culture of love. We're a community of compassion and all that good stuff, But they keep putting false narratives on us, and that's why I'm going to share a little bit of a social studies. Like I've been on the social studies tip, and that's social studies is truly studying the politicians. The politicians are acting like they're the leaders of the culture, and that's why but all the stuff that's coming out of their mouth is evil. Like, dude, like, nah, you're not the head of the culture. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's real. You're being real hypocritical, and that's why it's like somebody snatched that mic from Barack. And then his minions is like like I said, what's his name? Al Sharpton and Roland Martin. These fake fraternity dudes, like these fake, Divine Nine. They want to be like they the head of the Divine Nine, and that's when I look at my brothers that's a Kappa or a Q, and I look at them and out the, the corner of the eye with the eyebrow, the rock eyebrow. Like, you hear your boy, right? Y'all need to step to them real aggressively. You know what I mean? What was his name? Steve Harvey. Like, they need to step to y'all real aggressively, right? Because y'all on some Democrat Party book, and they the ones that's ignoring our dark indigenous roots to this land right here, right? They trying to lie on that and act like everybody came from Africa, all black people came from Africa. Like, nah, dude, it wasn't like that. Year zero, yeah, we accept that as the year of our Lord. That's when the dark Messiah walked the earth, But don't be like he was only in Israel or Jerusalem, and he wasn't that dark skinned, and all these narratives that these fake these fake Jews is spewing, right? And it's not to be hateful of them, because they know, right? Because when we in a circle of real hip hoppers, right? Like MC Search will spit that real. Like, nah, I know the truth, you know what I mean? And I be trying to let my people know to stop doing that, And then me and Search will get a hug, and you know what I mean? Might drink some little sippy wine or something, and then I'm gonna ask him to spit some bars. Right? I'm like, I don't need the mic no more. You told the truth. Here, let me hear. Let's do Gas Face 2.0. Let me get a little verse on it too. Because that's real hip hop right there. So, but I mean, I know that what I just spit was over a lot of baby boomers' heads. They know what I'm talking about, though, and that's why I'm sharing video clips of them telling the truth. Like, they don't know what these kids is doing. Like, why is these kids still sagging their pants? Why are these kids still screaming about racism in the form called white supremacy? They don't understand. Why are these kids having multiple baby daddies and multiple baby mommies and not being a traditional family? Why are these kids not, really using their mathematics to make society better, right? And it's like they are, but y'all still hogging all the cash, right? In order for them to make money, you gotta invest in them, and they have to start investing in Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, right? We do gotta invest in the white people too, and it's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we have to invest in them so that they can, be, they think they free, but they really hypocrites in the game of it all. Like, I'm just trying to play a, massively online role playing game with them, and with my son, and whoever wants to join us in slaying the dragon. Like that's all we really want to do, and we can build computers together and all that other good stuff, So, but check these two videos out real quick. It's only like 10 minutes, and then I'll wrap it up with a bold, just to And I'm biting off of another YouTuber. I'm just sharing YouTubers right now because YouTube is the number one video channel right now. Everybody want to be on YouTube. Your MSNs, NBC, CBSs, and then this is originally our space, and then want to copyright claim us for using they lies and to correct they lies. You know what I mean? As we start to tell the truth, and that's the tautology, not the contradiction, right? So I'll holler at y'all in 1 minute. Check it out. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Full thamp. You know what I mean? Enjoy this life. You know what I mean?
You can hear me. My mom is an elementary school special education teacher. School just started last week. They have asked my mom to determine which kids she believes will not graduate high school.
And when you say that, if they're having teachers identify kids that early, okay, in elementary school, especially third grade and up, okay, before they get to fourth grade, okay, identify kids. Who are the kids they're going to identify most? Who are they going to identify most? Okay, who's the first people they pick out to push out of the system? Guess I'll give you two guesses. Okay.
Those kids will be taken out of their elementary school class and they will be put into an alternative school that will only teach them life skills, and they will not get a high school diploma.
Who do you think that is? Okay. Mostly, okay. It's mostly boys, and it's mostly going to be black boys. Okay. Listen, like Mr. Z would say, message. Okay, listen.
She said that whatever kids are identified as being projected to not make it through high school are not allowed to be in a class that teaches the high school curriculum.
In other words, basically, what they're really saying is, and this is something, Donald Trump might be the knife holder, okay? But the thing is, this is Congress, okay, trying to save money, okay? And the Democrats are going to let Donald Trump do it is because they agree with this shit, okay? Because if there was something that the Democrats disagree with, they'd be all over the place talking about this. Nobody's talking about this on the ground, right? Because the Democrats agree with this shit, okay? They agree with this. They do.
These are babies in elementary school. They're not even in the 4th or 5th grade. The prison to the school pipeline to prison. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am literally so livid. And then on top of this, because her children are special education, right? Well, there's no more, they're getting rid of the disabilities protections for children and people in education. So they can't sue for discrimination because they're getting rid of all that. Anybody who calls themselves a progressive liberal person, whatever you want to call yourself, I don't care what the name is, understand this. Those of you who, in response to people telling you, look at what is going on now and how it is harming black and brown people, don't you care? And you turn around and you say, I don't care. This is what it's going to take to burn the country down. You guys are evil people. For one, why would you want the country to burn down? We're not even going to talk about that. But these babies are not even going to get an opportunity to get an education, and they're only in elementary school. And
the Bears are out, man. The Bears are out. I've been telling you guys that for 2 years. The Bears are out, okay? They were getting ready to release the Bears. The Bears are out now, okay? The Bears are going to eat. And, whoever has kids, if you guys are parents, you got kids, or you got nephews or whatever, right, okay? Be extremely aware of what's getting ready to happen, okay? Extremely aware, okay? You guys have to start taking these boys, especially these boys, snatch the phones away from them, make them sit down and read, okay? Make them sit down and study, okay? There's plenty of resources on YouTube and on the internet that they can actually make their own curriculum. Especially nowadays, when they're dumbing down the kids anyhow, okay? It doesn't take that much. I was telling my grandson, it doesn't take that much. He said, he said something to me maybe 6 months ago. I was picking him up from school and bringing him home. He said, I finally realized what you're saying. It's really not that hard to learn the basics, okay? Being in school, and as long as you learn the core elements of education, the rest is not that hard. He finally figured it out, okay? All that other fluff they put around that stuff, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to teach a kid to read. It's not that hard to teach a kid to do math. It's not that hard, okay? And
President Trump is doing God's work by refederalizing D.C. By the way, D.C. was set up as a federal city. It's in the Constitution. It's how our founding fathers intended it. These laws are still fully enforceable. They've never been rescinded or amended. President Trump and the executive, through the House of Representatives, controls Washington, D.C. President Trump controls budgets. House of Representatives and the Speaker of the House is technically and historically the lead of D.C. That still remains on the books. What happened to D.C., especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. And so what President Trump is doing is reasserting control of not only our nation's capital, but truly the seat of Western civilization. It's one final little note here that kind of blends outside of the personal, which is that Washington, D.C. is a representation of the work of your forefathers and mine. It is, by every measure, a very beautiful city architecturally. It is a sacred city. It is a sovereign place with the monuments to great men and women who've sacrificed far more than you or I could ever dream for this country. It must be preserved because the peoples of Earth come here by the millions per year in order to witness the success or failures of our systems. And if you are a proud patriot and you love this country and you wish for it to be reflected honorably to the peoples of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested that you just need to, you're just going to have to crack down. You're going to have to do the job, and you're going to have to get the crime out of Washington. That's my personal experience. Don't believe the bullshit that you hear online from some reporters. Oh, crime's down in D.C. Well, my infant nearly died in a drug fire after mass shootings. So no, D.C. is not safe. And I can tell you this, as a matter of fact, it is one of the worst, most racist narco states and welfare states imaginable. In that neighborhood that I would walk every single day, racial epithets were screamed at us, rocks were thrown at us because we were white people. This city is a sunken place. It is an unsafe place. I mean, if that's what happens to me, imagine what happens to somebody who's visiting here from a foreign country. Right? It's totally and wholly unsafe and a scar on the face of our country. And it must be healed. And President Trump is going about that heavy work.
Time out. I can't take any more of that. Essentially, he's got a core element of truth in what he says. The stats are being misused. They used to have a thing called lies, damn lies, and statistics if you wanted to mislead. But anyway, I've been in D.C. this year, and I was born in D.C. I lived there, by the way, at this point in time when he's talking about it was being burnt to the ground and big swaths were being bulldozed. That didn't happen. Otherwise, I would have eyeballed it, but I didn't see it. And in any event, it's bad enough.
Did he say that he said it should be bulldozed?
No, yeah, but he was saying it was burnt to the ground and all that other. That didn't happen. That's an exaggeration, and that just comes from someone who's too young way too young to have had any personal memory of it.
Right.
Probably the grandchild of somebody who might, and reading the wrong things. But what he's going to is fundamentally valid. It's horrible. You had these folk who got home rule and an opportunity to take some place that's got all of this money, opportunity funneled in by the U.S. government and its need to have, a good image, and they've blown it. Last time I was in D.C., which was this year, I saw something I had not seen, and that was traveling around the city on two separate occasions. For the short time I was there, I saw violent crime being committed on the streets, 2 strong-arm robberies. And I don't get how anybody, the Democratic Party, I'm not talking about him, can say citizens are against somebody making it safe for them to go to the grocery store, go look at some of these monuments or visit their neighbors in peace without putting their lives on the line like they're walking in downtown Baghdad in 2005 with an American uniform on. So I don't get it, man. I don't believe that either. That's just Democratic shield work. Not getting on him, but he's giving an emotional appeal. And a lot of the things that he said, it's just turn around is a bitch, ain't it? But
Can I add something to this clip?
go ahead.
Um, I don't believe him when he said that, him and his family were called names. They have been, he's a gentrifier. This will be considered a white person moving to a predominantly black neighborhood or community because you could get a good quality home, fix it up for a low, you could get a good home, low price, fix it up, and, increase the property value. He's a gentrifier. And I've seen this in Newark, New Jersey, and East Orange, in Harlem, New York. Black people, they may look, but they're not saying anything to a white person because they go about their business. It could have been one crazy person who was high, just acting stupid and saying something, but it's not a common thing. And so I was reading the comments under this clip, and there were people calling him out saying he has a history of embellishing stories, propaganda, and stuff like that. But what what highlighted from what he was saying when he said it's horrible, it should just be bulldozed down. And see, that type of talk is the urban renewal, which is Negro removal talking points. Because how many black neighborhoods, black communities have been bulldozed down throughout the decades, have highways built, run through them, and displace the people that live there. And I'm not giving an excuse for the criminals.
Baby, I don't buy that.
I'm talking to his talking points, that type of ideology. And that type of ideology, you are highlighting what has happened throughout the decades towards black people and where they live at. And I'm not talking about from the 90s to now or the 80s to now when the neighborhoods really deteriorated. I'm talking about way before then. So my whole point here is, yes, you should not complain when the president want to bring in National Guards to decrease crime. No one shouldn't complain about that. But at the same time, don't sit up here and paint this picture as if you are a victim. That's what I'm saying.
I'll help.
Yeah, that's Benny Johnson. And, you know what I mean? You see the picture right there of him. That's Benny Johnson. And he does embellish, right? It's kind of cool, like how I got that there right there. But if I go here, yeah,
Lots to rap about.
I know, my bad. Cause I'm over here playing around and trying different things too. Yeah, that was a previous recording. Let me see if I can do the music here. Yeah, that's Benny Johnson right there. Now he is very hypocritical, right? Like, you see the picture right here. He got a picture of Lil Nas X. We all know who Lil Nas X is, and we know Lil Nas X has a lot of. He has been the face of the LGBTQIA.PDI.DEI, pedophile, the files and all that good stuff, right? The PDF files and he has been. They've been pushing him at the forefront of hip hop culture in that role, and that's what we've been complaining about as, real culture. Like myself, like, nah, that's not what hip hop's about. That's very hypocritical that he does that. You know what I'm saying? Benny Johnson also, and then recently, Lil Nas X was locked up and got 4 counts of indecent, exposure in California or something like that. So he does the same kind of Kanye West, I'm crazy, I'm gonna do something that's off the wall to be noticed, and I'm a part of that LGBTQIA sexual deviant behavior, and that's what the culture is, and we as true hip hop people like, nah, that's never been the culture. And then so what Benny does is he glorifies that to point and laugh at our culture, right? To do that. Right now, Benny's he's a YouTuber. That's all he is, and He's 38 years old. Now, Benny is 38, and so is Kendrick Lamar, right? So, but Benny was one of the ones at the forefront acting like he ain't know who Kendrick Lamar was for the Super Bowl. Like, and a lot of people, like, you know, fronted on Kendrick Lamar being the main act at the Super Bowl. I mean, you know me, he rocked that joint and really put to the forefront what 40 Acres and a Mule and how the industry actually is doing what he's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like that, see their culture, see how bad their culture is, see their culture's full of that sexual. That's what he's doing right there. That he's the woke folk. That's what Benny's doing right there. He's very hypocritical for that. And then to act like he don't know who Kendrick Lamar is, you know what I mean, for the Super Bowl, and it's like, you know, he really wasn't that popular and this and that, and it wasn't a real good halftime show. It's like one of the greatest halftime shows of all time. Right? Now Kendrick Lamar is overseas, over in Europe, Germany, Poland, full stadium, packed crowds, rocking that joint, right? Killing it. And, you know, Benny's jealous, right? And the one that I'm pointing out is that, you know, Kendrick Lamar lets everybody know that he's a Christian. He's a Christian. He's Christian. Right? But now he's over there performing with an X on his chest. Not for no what's his name? Hey, who the owner of X? Y'all know who what's the name, boy? Whatever, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? The artificial African American, Elon Musk, right? He's the owner of X. This is the game they play, right? But Kendrick is wearing the X as a shout out to the Nation of Islam. That's the part that y'all not understanding. That's why Malcolm X was Malcolm X. Cash is X. Like, you know what I mean? You cross off your last name, you put an X on it. So that's the Nation of Islam, and that's an American Muslim group. But here we got the Middle Eastern Muslims and some of them in Congress, the Ahmad, they're mostly Democrats, right? Taking over and trying to make a socialist movement, like they color people, like they're part of the NAACP. So we're all black in a way. That's the game plan, right? Is to use us to make us look like that, right? To be woke folk. It's the same play. This is the same play they've been running for the past 4 years. Same play they started at the end of Obama's first term, second term. The same play. That's what the Democrats were doing. That's why I'm like, yo, Democrats, let them die. Right? If they want to, you know what I mean, Ann Coulter wants to come up with a foundational American party. All right, cool, no problem. We call it the Foundation American Party now. All right, but that Democrat stuff, make that the third party now. Make them obsolete. So then in 2028, 2032, it'll be the Republicans versus the foundational Americans. The Democrats will be mostly dead. I don't care. We're rebuilding our country. That's real politics. Not caping to the Democrats because they want the black people to vote for them again, and they treating us like shit. Right? They're the ones pointing at us and saying that we the woke folk. That's why when Trump says, it's like, Trump, shut up. You know what I'm saying? But cut the check, okay? We get it. So now when he says woke folk and he's talking about the, slavery and removing some of those exhibitions, because, I mean, it might be overkill. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you do want to show, maybe 1 foot, or a couple displays of, them running across the alligator fields or something like that, right? Letting people know, they used to treat us like shit, right? But the way this dude is doing it, he's not right, because the moment you say something woke about their culture, then he's gonna have a problem, right? As soon as I go woke Jesus, right, returns, he's gonna have a problem with that, right? Or they're gonna try to act like they don't have a problem with that, and it's completely disrespectful to the Lord. Right? This right here is completely disrespectful. It is. But I'm just sharing it to make a point. right? They can disrespect hip hop like hip hop is the problem. Hip hop is the problem. Hip hop is the problem, right? This the Steve Harvey, the Roland Martins, the you know what I mean, the Barack Obamas. They can blame hip hop all day, and it's not if the culture can if the culture has the capability of destroying the minds of the children, it should also have the the ability to enlighten the minds. To quote the teacher, right? Can't have trust, you can't hang with us. We respond to those that show respect with respect. We respond, we connect on the same deck, same intellect, right? It's about respect. But yeah, this is completely disrespectful right there. So, but yeah, I'm put it on this one here, cut the music off, and you know what I mean. I'm gonna get back to more, kind of be a little more professional with the presentation and all that good stuff. How many minutes I gave you? Exactly 30 minutes. There it is, right there. I'm gonna be back with some more Superman, right? Cause I can't wait to watch this movie again. And I can't get it on DVD, but I might rent it on digital when I get an opportunity in the next couple weeks or so. See if I can find $5 to rent it, or I might trip over, and be able to get it and download it, whatever. You know what I mean? Figure it out. Go cut some lawns or something. We'll figure it out. But I mean, the hypocrisy is real. The hypocrisy is real. The hypocrisy is real, right? Because they wanna act like it's hip hop culture. It's the culture. It's the black culture, right? When it's their hypocrisy of what's called anti-black racism, because that's what that kid is representing. He's representing anti-white racism. That's what his name. What was his name again? I forgot his name that fast. Because he's a more Benny Johnson. He represents anti-white racism. That's what he wants to say, right? They're against me. He's anti-white. You know what I'm saying? That's the game that they playing. That's the game you play when you play that anti-racism game, or woke religion, right? That's why I'm looking at the two. But we will rap more about that later on too. I've already done rapped enough. I think y'all got the gist of the point. One God, our Father, all the time. Hip hop, life, love, one. That's God is love. Hip hop is life. Time is holy. Money is nothing more than that fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. Because the art of making the most out of life is hip hop. Let's get this economics cracking, I guess, or whatever. Peace. One. God is understood.